In today's episode, I have special guest Ondra Kozák with me. And in the Czech Republic, there is a bluegrass scene like nowhere else outside the States, so to say. Ondra is being one of the top musicians in the European bluegrass scene. And not only does he play mandolin, but also guitar, dobro, violin, well, you name it. So in today's episode, we're talking with Ondra Kozák about being a multi-instrumentalist. Here we go. Hey there, music makers. I'm Magnus, and welcome to the Mandolin Secrets podcast. This is the place to get tips, inspiration, and stories that supports you on your musical journey. Thank you so much for tuning in, and just know you can go to mandolinsecrets.com/podcast for more information on how to keep up with the show and also find all previous episodes. Now, let's get this episode rolling. All right, so welcome to today's podcast episode. I'm here with a Czech, well, not only mandolin player, but guitar player, violin player, vocalist, you name it. We've got Ondra Kozák with us today. How are you, Ondra?
Wow, hey, it's an absolute pleasure to be with you here. And So I'm saying hello to all the podcast listeners and good people out there.
Yeah, thanks. So we are actually right now at Torsåker Bluegrass Festival. It's the middle of the summer here in Sweden. And will you tell me a little bit what you've been doing so far this day?
This day, I try to sleep as much as possible because this is works for me as the best preparation for being able to play good music. So no medicines, nothing, no drinking, no eating, just enough sleep, and then I know that I will be okay to do my best. But yeah, after that we had a nice fiddle workshop with some people interested about how to play bluegrass and country fiddle. Actually, they come from various backgrounds. Yeah. Some of them play traditional Swedish folk music, which interests me on the other side. But yeah, I think a lot of the things are similar, like in the traditional music and also with the old time music and bluegrass playing and country playing. On the fiddle we have the same instrument, and we can use similar approaches how to embellish simple melodies, for example, to make it sound, but we sometimes use some more distinct or specific ways to do it, to make it sound more into bluegrass or more into old time or more into whatever you call it, so I try to explain more about the shuffling and bowing techniques. This is, I think, the most distinctish way to make it sound right in the genre.
Yeah, I even remember now, like, I think if it's 2 or 3 years ago, I was actually attending your workshop.
I know.
And you gave me some really keys for how to start your solo breaks using some like intro pickup lines in the style of bluegrass music, that
cool.
It was a sort of an nice little like tip or technique that I got from you there. But mostly listeners to the podcast are mandolin players. Yeah. And you are here because you are an amazing mandolin player. As well, just told us you've been doing this fiddle camp today. Yeah. And someone watching the video, you can see that in the lap for Ondra right now, the guitar.
Yeah, nice.
So, and I think it's, I'm sort of a little bit curious. What is your background with all these instruments and bluegrass music in general?
There is I would say, big tradition of music schools in the Czech Republic, where I come from. There is basically a very good music school in every medium-sized city. So it's very accessible. It's, I would say, very cheap to get a good education, at least in the classical music in the Czech Republic. So this was my first contact. Actually, the very first contact, of course, were my parents. Of course, they were singing at home, and also my father. He's a violin player, and still after, he wasn't playing in any band or orchestra, but he was still practicing at home, which was my first real contact with handmade music that I really can see as a 4-year-old child. And they got me a little fiddle, like a violin, very little one. So I helped my father, so I pretended to be a violin player. So I think this was the first contact, and really, like in this young age, you absorb like a sponge. So I think this is very important for my music, let's say, career. But then I started attending like classical violin classes at the age of 6 in the first grade in the Czech Republic, and it took 10 years. 10 years of classical violin training. But during this period, around age of 9 or 10. I discovered guitar because my uncle, he was a huge fan of the modern folk music, which is, I would say, quite a big tradition also in the Czech Republic. Like not this kind of folk music as we use the term also for a traditional, like the Swedish folk music is. It's not what we also have the traditional Czech folk, or we call it folklore music. But the modern folk, like a singer-songwriter stuff, it's quite a big scene for it in the Czech Republic. So my uncle went to these events, festivals, and he just taught me a few chords on the guitar. So G and E minor, probably A minor and D, which was great for playing, a lot of songs from this genre. I used finger picking, something like this, and then I discovered the flat pick, and once he brought a recording, an album of a Czech bluegrass band. The name of the band is Top, and they play like, I would say, traditional American music with Czech lyrics, but in the fast tempos with a lot of fast notes, harmonies, the 3-part harmonies, and it was when I was like 13, 14 probably, and it was the right age for me. Like, wow, what's this? After all this, all of a sudden I heard the hard driving style, and it was
And so this folklore style, is that also like bluegrass influenced, or is it another style where you started, or was this a shift in your like music?
No, I've never played really like a folklore stuff. I just played classical music and a little bit of like swingy or like modern, like kind of ways of little ensembles, like 2 violins, flutes, and pianos and this stuff. But never like what we have this cymbal on with the strings and everything. I've never did it, but it is a huge tradition. And really like the modern folk, like singer-songwriter stuff. This was my first contact with the guitar, and then of course the bluegrass, which as we know uses fiddle, violin as a fiddle. So that was another contact for me, or another perspective how to view the same instrument, which is completely different approach, because in the music school there's just the sheet music, no playing by ear, no improvising, almost any knowledge about chords and harmony. It's a solely melodic instrument. So for me, like approaching fiddle from this perspective, and after knowing how chords are built on guitar, that changed my world, my fiddle world, I would say.
I see. So it's they're 13, 14 years old, and that's also when you're starting playing bluegrass music then?
Yeah, there was a new formed band in my high school, and it was great. It was great coincidence that at the same time when I was discovering bluegrass, there was a new band starting in my school. So yeah, we had like rehearsals every 2 times a week, like very intense, and we were the same age, kind of same level. So it was very. I think this was the best motivation and best teacher for a self-taught player to have a band and regular rehearsals and
wow, that's really good. So you're really trained from a really early age then. So at what time of this stage does the mandolin enter your world?
Yeah, because for a violin player who plays guitar, the mandolin feels pretty obvious. The right hand is not that much different from the guitar if you already know some strumming and also some single line picking, and some soloing. And the left hand is the same as on violin. Plus you have the frets, so you cannot really play out of tune, which was great. And plus the years of listening to bluegrass music and subconsciously listening to the role of mandolin, that helped me to learn it pretty quickly. I would say, I still don't know enough of the cliches and the typical language of the, I would say, like the Bill Monroe stuff and everything and all these licks. I don't know all of them. Like compared to guitar, when I really sit for hours and try to find it by ear. On mandolin, I just grabbed it, and it felt very natural for me to play melodies, to play chords also.
One thing that comes to my mind, because a lot of students and people in this community, they often have a background with another instruments, and the 2 most common ones is either fiddle or guitar. And it's also kind of natural that the people with the fiddle background, they tend to go for the melodies, and the guitar background tends to go towards the more chordal and backup features, because it's that is one of the things that I do like a lot with the mandolin, that I think it supports like both the rhythm, backup, as well as lead and melody playing. But you then having a little bit of experience in both words at that early stage, I can really see how smooth the transition was.
Yeah, but every instrument really requires like some extra time, mastering the craft, like the specific things about the technique. It's not the same. It's similar to guitar, but it's not the same. No. So you have to deal with the right hand position and how to produce a good tone and finding the right mandolin in the first place. And but I loved it. I had a band where I played exclusively mandolin for, I don't know, maybe 6 years, and it was called East West. We have one album out, and so this was again great lesson or a great motivation for me to really work on it. It's always like this. I never had enough reasons to really go deep into practicing if I don't have a goal or a reason. We people are lazy. If we don't really are, if you are not pushed, we have a tendency to glide on the surface only. But if you really have to master something because there is a reason, there is a deadline, there is a concert, recording or whatever, then you sit down and then you do the actual work.
I'm totally with you on that, and I even, because we can't really. People sometimes feel that they lack discipline for doing the work, but I see it most often. It's not a question of willpower. They are lacking the environment for their so. And I think what you're talking about now is really connected to that. Yeah. That having, like, if there's my quick fix for people lacking discipline is get a gig or get a teacher. Yeah. and so there's an environment connected to the kind of things that you want to develop, because then it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I would maybe also add have a good role model, have a good hero of the instrument, because you need to spend a lot of time with it to master it. And sometimes it gets boring or annoying or frustrating. But if you have a bigger idea in your head, and if you know how cool it can sound when you master it, that's the great, direction that you keep. Because, practicing, it's sometimes it sucks. It makes you sometimes feel that you're stupid because you're working on something that you're not good at. But you know that there is a goal, and playing on other instruments too. It made me realize that actually practicing really helps. That you can get from state where you don't know what to do and how to do it to the state that you are comfortable with what you are doing, and knowing that there is a really like the chance to cross the mountain or the border. That's very, very motivating for the self-confidence, and keeps me focused, and I know it's worth it to spend the time with stuff that I'm bad at, because I've already learned many times in the past that I can make it.
This is really interesting. I'm also curious to ask you for some tips for the community about like playing different instruments. But before that, still, I was hearing about there is this concept, that we got to spend 10,000 hours to really master something. And hearing about you starting classical violin at age of 6, developing that skill, also getting into your school ensemble at 13, 14 years old, being trained bi-weekly there. So if you just, by like guessing, at what stage do you think you had acquired your 10,000 hours on your journey?
Well, good question. I'm not sure about, of course the exact number. No. It's not there, but I'm with you that there is a certain I would say level or something where you can feel pretty comfortable with your playing and not being ashamed to join the jam session or stand in front of the audience and play a gig. And for me on the guitar, I thought it came like pretty quickly, because I really spent tons of hours because I really loved it. I have a lot of good recordings. I was already, I'm already the child of a digital age. So I skipped the LPs and MCs a little bit, but MP3s. I had a lot of MP3s and a lot of great music, great source for me. And I was good with computers, so I did a lot of transcribing stuff. So I transcribed a lot of solos. I learned from this, and a lot of hard work, but it was fun at the same time, which is important. So on guitar, I really feel like comfortable, for most of my musical career, I would say. But interesting thing is on fiddle, like or violin. When I played the classical violin, I only played what was in the sheet music, and it took me quite a few years recently. After I finished my solo guitar album 5 years ago, I said, it's time maybe to put some more emphasis into the violin, because I love the sound. I love the possibilities you have on violin. But I still feel, because after years of listening, you can. This another important thing to train your ear to be able to decide if you are good or not. And if you play and listen a lot, it's much easier for you to decide if you are already there or no. And I found out, okay, I play really out of tune on violin. Even after 10 years of classical training, I suck with rhythm, my rhythm, I speed up all the time and everything. And it really took a few years recently that I focused mostly on fiddle. Of course, not with the same amount of hours, because I have a family, I have to, care about living. But again, I feel that it was worth it. The hours spent. Now I feel much more comfortable with my tuning. Also my rhythm on violin. It's still not perfect, and it will never be. But again, it's very satisfying to see that it really works. That the hours you spend with with practicing, not just with noodling or playing, with practicing, they are worth it.
Yeah, and I also think like this idea of playing many instruments, that of course if you start your second or third instruments, it's not like starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
You have all that musicality built in to it and all that, but for you, how's it nowadays that you are, because here's the thing, last time we met is 2 years ago.
Yes.
I think first time I met you, at least when I did see you, is also here at Torsåker, maybe 10 years ago. You were here with your band.
G Runs and Roses, probably.
Yeah,
yes.
G Runs and Roses.
Yeah.
That's a great name. But anyway, 2 years ago, I did see your solo concert. And you played, we already mentioned, mandolin, guitar, violin. I think you even played dobro in the show, and you were doing some vocal numbers.
Yeah.
And I do also know you play a bit of bass, for example. So, is there a challenge for you these days, managing all these like different skill set for the instruments, or how do you treat it, being a multi-instrumentalist?
It always depends on the goal, you know, on the project or the gig or what is it like? Really, I didn't played much guitar when I was focused on the violin, and especially when we started a duo with Radim Zenko, we were playing here at the festival, and our show is a little bit different from what I was used to. Like, we really change instruments after every song, so we try to make it, you know, surprising.
I haven't seen the concert yet, but that's what I've been told, that you are changing around the set.
And this is actually very tricky. Like, this was a little frustrating for me also, because, you know, at home you never do this. You just grab the instrument, the mandolin, and you just play mandolin for 1 hour. But you don't play just one song and then switch to completely another instrument. So I think at least I need even more training and more self-confidence, especially on violin, which is very fragile, and intonation wise it's very, you know, so I think like building these blocks of the self-confidence and being able to really play the song, you know, no matter what. At least, I mean, I'm talking about the show with Radim on stage. This was part of my daily routine to really master the song so well that I can sometimes even play and sing at the same time, which is very dependent on the monitors and everything. But you have to do something as an autopilot, you know, because you cannot really focus on everything. So that was a nice challenge, and I'm still not there, you know. I still sometimes I'm still surprised where else can I make a mistake, you know, after years of playing the same song. So it's still a nice challenge, and you have to be pretty focused. But
so sorry if I interrupt you, but hearing that, did you even like change your way of practicing for doing that? For example, like you mentioned, playing one song for 5 minutes on the mandolin, switching to the violin, switching to the guitar. Sorry. Is that something that you've been trying in the practice room even?
Yes, I tried this. I even tried like everything. I tried to emulate everything like on stage. I even like built a PA in my studio and all my pedals, and sometimes I needed some pedals and the mics. And also the shirt, you know, it's different if you're playing with a t-shirt with like this or like this. It's different. It's very much different if you sit or if you play stand up.
Yeah.
So from then on, I mostly practice standing up, you know, because it's really different. So I'm trying to really emulate all the whole situation and I'm still not prepared, because there will always be some influences that you are not prepared for. But I'm trying to be this, because people attending the show, they don't want to watch you like staring in the floor and being like super focused face, and you know, they don't know how hard the stuff is. They just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
So you have to master your playing so well that you can even smile at people and look at them, you know, which is another level of playing.
Yeah.
It's completely different from what you are doing when practicing. So. So there are still a lot of challenges like this.
Yeah, that's, I mean, amazing work. I'm looking forward to the show, and I can really see you made the setup in the preparation for this. Yeah. It reminds me almost like how a theater ensemble will, when they're getting closer to the premiere, they're rehearsing with the dresses. The lights are there. Everything. It's sort of as. So there is no like surprise when the curtain unfolds.
And I really have to tell you, like only with Radim, when we started, like he is really like the professional mindset guy. I've never played with anybody like him before. Wow. I mean, like in the Czech Republic, of course I played with some US artists as a part of their band, but in the European tour. But we don't have so many focused and professional players. And with him, it really made me analyze much more and be prepared for everything. We are recording every concert. Before that, I was also recording my concerts, but I was hesitant to see that or hear that, because I knew that it will not sound, it wouldn't sound not very nice. There will be mistakes, and who wants to listen to the mistakes? But without listening to your mistakes or finding them, you will never fix them. So it's really necessary. It's very annoying, but it's very helpful.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, video is like a reality check, isn't it? Yeah. So, and well, you guys actually asked me to film the concert today. Is that for your own? Oh, I see.
Yeah, probably if it's good enough for making it public, maybe one song or two songs. Yeah. But basically, really, especially Radim, he's very focused in this, and he has the whole archive of all our gigs, and watches it. Like I sometimes go through it also, because I need to find out what happened that day. You know, there was something bad going on. There are some songs that are pretty okay, you know, every time we play it, but there are some songs that still needs you know, some feedback from us.
Well, yeah, that is a really pro level of how you're doing that work. Well, just mention to the listeners, there's a train passing by if you wonder what that was. But we're shooting here like in festival environment. I was hoping to get maybe some bluegrass music sipping in the window, but
it's already starting.
Yeah, it's there.
There's something happening outside.
Yeah. But I'm getting inspired hearing about the level of your professionalism. Is that what it's saying? So, yes, Ondra, so maybe to wrap things up here, I'm pretty sure, well, like, I think we can all like take inspiration from what you shared so far, but with the theme being playing multiple instruments, what would be like one advice for you if there's someone that simultaneously wanted to become better at 2 or 3 instruments? Any like tips you can give us along the way?
Yeah, sometimes I hear people talking about like, first I have to master the first instrument and then I will move to another, which is a nonsense. You will never master one instrument. You know, you will never be there. You know, like maybe you will, but ask somebody else and they will, you know, tell you about what to do better, maybe. So that's for sure. We are always, you know, on the journey, and it will never end if we want to really make it better and better. And for me, of course, splitting the time between 2 or more instruments might seem counterproductive, but depends on what we are talking about. If we are talking about mastering the technique and and the language of one instrument, or if we are talking about being better musician. And I think for being a better musician, it's great. It's the best thing, to have several instruments, or at least two, that you can switch, because you have, what it really develops your ear rather than your hands. Or muscle memory, or what how you want to call it. It's also very inspiring. It's inspiring for me. If you have any ambitious, like a composer or arranger, like for me, grabbing a dobro after 2 weeks of not touching it, all of a sudden, wow, such cool sounds, and all of a sudden ideas come to my mind immediately, which would never happen if I practice it daily. I think because it's practicing daily means a routine, means like doing the same things, or practicing is different from composing, very much different. And the new sound inspires me always. So and also I'm never bored. I'm never, if I feel that like I'm bored with the guitar, I just grab the fiddle, and all of a sudden I'm in the same world, but in a different continent, I would say. And it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's surprising again, and it really makes me, connected to the music all the time.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess also one of the big benefits of playing multiple instruments is, if you ever want to perform, go on stage or something, you have broadened your palette or your toolbox, or what I call it, for music making. Great tips. So Ondra, if people listening or watching, or if they want to, where can they find your music, information about you, and
it should be simple if you can pronounce my name correctly, but it's ondrakozak.com. That's my website where I post most of my music activities. I also have a separate website for all my teaching activities, which is atamusic.eu, but it's mostly in Czech. So because we have quite a I would say big scene for the bluegrass music, like bigger than anywhere else in Europe. So I do a lot of camps and online teaching and stuff, but mostly in Czech. So I keep these things separate. But for the projects and music, go ahead and or find my name on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So I try to be active there more and more, because it's after years of doing it consistently. You're the YouTuber, so So building this, it's a good investment into your whatever is your goal. It might be there for several years, and it still works for you. The video you did 5 years ago, and people recognize you and recognize your music and get in touch with you. And so in these days, I think that the social media and online area is great for musicians. And sometimes it's like we tend to be addicted to doing computer stuff. So at home I try to be separate. When I do music, I go away from my computer desk and I go to my window to see the nature. And when I need to type something down, I go back to my desk, because I really feel that if I'm sitting with a computer, I'll be only on Facebook or something.
It's distracting.
But I would like to get in touch with anybody. If you want to say hi and just friend me on Facebook, or find my music, and let's meet on some real events, like whatever.
Absolutely. So ondrakozak.com. I even put a link here in the description below. But that's it. Thank you so much, Ondra. So nice meeting you, and I'm sure the community appreciate hearing your thoughts about being a multi-instrumentalist. And for all the listeners out there, just mentioning, if you want to find more podcast episodes, you find it at the website. It's mandolinsecrets.com/podcast. There we got all the previous episodes and all that. Yes, I think that's it. Wrapping it up with the final little line here. So, reminder for me, for you, for Ondra, and everyone out there: always be a music maker.